So, I think good morning, everyone. It has been a wetty morning for all of you, and it is good to see that most of you are here. Some of you would have came driving, some of you would have come walking. I hope nobody came swimming here. I don't think the situation is that bad. And I was speaking to Naveen in the morning that I hope that we'll be able to see people here in the room before we start the event, and we have the chance to speak. So thank you very much. The speaker before me, Harshvardhan, because he was talking about the groceries related things, and one thing that he was also talking about is that you have to keep your wife happy by fresh vegetables, and I think also you have to keep your tummy happy as well with whatever you are able to buy. And a very powerful presentation from Raman as well, and I think this goes by the brand Salesforce. It was a very forceful presentation on the CRM. Okay, so myself, Taj Anwar, and I take care of the customer services for Vodafone Idea for Eastern region. 2 months back, I was also part of the national transformation for them in terms of the social media, chatbots, and email bots as well. So I have been part of that transformation. So some of that experience and what I am doing now and in previous. So what I will be sharing is on the screen. So before I move on to that, so the first thing that when I came to the city, the first thing that I had to do was I had to navigate to the hotel with the help of Google Maps, right? So why am I saying this? I'll tell you why. The next thing is that when I reached the hotel, since it was my third visit to the same hotel, and I kind of searched for something because I was hungry when I landed, and finally I got something for my tummy, which was something which I like as my favorite cookies there. I also sent some reply for this event to some people, and I got a reply which was some bit delayed of some 2 days, and finally, yes, I got the answer there. Why am I saying all these things? We'll have the answer in the next slide that I show you here. A picture there, a man waiting for something on the restaurant, and then possibly for the water, and then somebody comes and serves him the water. The next picture talks about wherein the lady is still working, and the person who is serving her realizes that she needs water, and the person comes and starts serving the water. So she doesn't need to ask for it and wait for it. Now the similarity between the previous 3 events which I just quoted and this is the time has shifted where it is no more reactive customer services. A lot of time what we are discussing is about reactive customer services, and of course we have to have reactive customer services because for everything else you can't have everything predictable. But yes, it has to be moving from a reactive to more of proactive. Because the moment you are able to do proactive, your cost of serving the consumers, your ability to serve them better, your ability to not having the problem itself is goes drastically down. And the moment we have the mindset from a perspective of not making consumer really wow when I have a problem. So a lot of brands in the last decades have worked upon in creating that wow feeling that yes, first I give you a problem, then you reach out to me through my helplines, through my emails, and using various tools, I make you extremely happy about it, which is a great thing. But what is also important is that I don't need to even call up the call centers or even write an email. Why can't you predict? Why can't you ensure that the problem does not exist? And if it exists, why can't you know it before I tell you? And that's also the further level in terms of from proactive to intuitive. And that's what it changed the customer services to customer experience, and that's the reason why in most of the cases we don't call it CS, but we call it CX, and that's what this event is also called as DCX. Okay, so moving on, that since I already talked about the proactive customer services rather than reactive, so while it does not kind of demean the tools that we are about to use in various customer services, as I said that yes, all these are required, you need them, but yes, you also need to have the proactive customer services. Now what is the difference if I also go 2-3 slides back, that all the 3 sentences had a starting word as I. I had to check the Google Map, I had to search for the cookies, I had to do the reply to the send the emails. And in all these cases, it is the customer who is initiating it and not the brand. In all the three cases, the brand itself could have also initiated it. You could have received the hotel map link. The hotel guy would have known your preferences in the past times, and instead of writing an email, you had something as a live chat solution as well. Okay, so in all the three cases, the brand would have been forthcoming rather than the customer reaching out to the brand. And in all the three cases, if I had to, the brand could have reached the customer, then of course the experience is extremely different. The other difference between the two is the transaction-based difference between the reactive and the proactive part of it. Traditionally, since I also handle various channels, the traditional model is that each channel is transaction, and that's not what exactly Raman was also saying, that each particular team is thinking in its own manner, in its own silos, that particular transaction is done. Whether it is retention, whether it is a sales in terms of adding something to the cart, but the difference between the proactive and the reactive is, of course, that it is more of the journey based. Now, an example of that is, in case if I really want to purchase something, then I have the same person continuing with me to help me in the entire journey till the time the sale is done. I have the same team which is working with me till the time that particular transaction of me purchasing something, returning something, buying something is fulfilled. So that is completely journey based onto that. Again, a shift from the helplines of traditional emails and helplines. Of course, it will give you a lot of predictive answers, but moving on to the more live chat options, more options of self-help as well. The way how it is also being looked into a traditional problem that most of the people sitting in this room would find is the cost part of it. Whereas all of us in the room would like to give the best of the customer services to each of the customers that we serve, with whichever brand that we have worked for. But the problem that comes is the cost at which we have to service. The ticket size, the revenue model, the amount of revenue that you are able to get from the consumers, and at what cost this service can be provided. Hence, it is also important that when we are discussing this in our boardrooms, the proactive solutions will not have that much of a cost impact, and since it will be linked to a journey which is of high value of 1,000 rupees can still have a customer services cost of 20 rupees, whereas something which is of low cost of 50 rupees item can have a customer services of 5 rupees or 8 rupees. So you can also have customer services also graded by the basis the ticket size, which unlike today is also at the similar level, which then creates a problem for something, when I say about equality and justification, you have two chapatis, one small kid and one big kid, so you may end up giving one chapati to each, whereas actually you could have given half to this kid and maybe 1.5 to the young guy. Okay, so hence the allocation of resources also becomes helpful in case of this approach of proactive and reactive. So hence the change from consumers, from our customers to ambassadors. Now how to go about it? Now traditional thinking is that, and we'll have in this room from consumers, brands, to partners, to some of the people who still want to adopt, people who are at different maturity of the customer services, people who are at different maturity of technology partners. So some bit of everything here is how you can, something is how you can go about it. The very first thing is, which all of us have spoken, is about walking the journey. And walking the journey with the consumers is important, because even yesterday when I was in the office and I was something which was set to happen for sure for a number of years, is the moment we tried it ourselves and we experienced it, we found that it was not happening the way that we thought about it. And hence walking the journey is important. There are ways of doing it, there are tools available, there are partners available in this room who will help you to how to do it, which can vary from doing it on your own, stimulators, it can be seeding exercises, it can be map gaps, there are tools available for that. But it's important that we walk the journey, especially the critical one, on a regular basis, because no wonder you will find surprises there. The next thing is, of course, is extremely data insight, and I was part of one of the other conference in Delhi, and this lady who was there from Google, okay, and I think Rohit was also there, right? And it was a line which I still remember, which was data everywhere, but no drop of insight. Okay, and I really like that line because we have too much of data available now, but the inciting, how you have to extract the insight of it, is something which is still remains a challenge. But yes, we need to capture data. It can be right from real time to offline to D+1 basis, D+3 basis, and so on and so forth. Data security, but availability of data, because as long as if you don't have the right information, the connect to that journey will not be possible, and it all will be shooting in the dark, or that moonshot that we call. The third thing is empower. Because if you don't empower, a lot of time in customer services, what we find is, because of the long chain of the people serving right from the CEO of the company to the rep in the store or the call center, because of the control of cost or of whatever waivers that we can provide, we don't give the option too much to our front-end teams. Please, we need to empower them, and there are tools available, once again from a technology perspective, from which you can control the kind of empowerment that you are giving. But the more that you empower, of course, you will be able to answer the consumers right at the moment, creating the moment of truth, and of course, another reason of having that proactive part of it. Last one, very new thing in the last 2-3 years you would find, including the bigger brands, that we don't generally accept mistakes, because it becomes difficult for brands to accept mistakes, especially that you go in media, you may go into newspaper, televisions, that this is a problem that has happened and you have accepted it. But we need to be conscious about it. Yes, we can't accept everything in the public, but at the same time you have to accept things which are really on your face. Because the moment you accept it, that's the first answer that you're able to give to the customer, that yes, I empathize with you and I know that's a problem. So no shame in accepting it. Please accept the mistakes that we have done for the customers proactively, very good. And also give a reward to the consumer, like a pinch to you, so that kind of creates a internal pressure on you that every time you do a mistake, you have to shell out some dollars to the consumers, so that next time you are more careful about it. So what should we provide? First thing is, of course, do it yourself. We have seen that there have been a lot of information in terms of the frequently answered questions, which we find it on the app, the websites, the CRMs for our agents. So today, a lot of people, okay, we are talking about, Harshvardhan was talking about the phygital model, which is physical and digital. And I was thinking that whether I'm physically present or I'm digitally present in this meeting, because I was on the phone. So I don't know if he was talking to me for that. So it's important that you need to be physically present, but at the same time, it's also important that if a person is physically present somewhere as a customer, what is something that he will be able to extract information without even approaching me as a brand. Quick videos, we talk about some self-help videos which are there. There are app slices which are available, and there are, even with the help of augmented reality, that's AR inserts that you can do to help the consumers that what is something that they can be able to do with my product, and especially in case of complex products, which can be electronics or otherwise. I'll move slightly to the third one, which is collecting the feedbacks in terms of the surveys that we can do in timely. And again, surveys, not a very generic surveys that how was your stay in the hotel, or how was your interaction with my contact center, or how was the brand usage. It can be journey-wise surveys, because the moment you are doing journey-wise surveys, you are exactly able to pinpoint that team and say that this is what your score is and not the organization score is. Product build partnership is something where you have to take the buy-in from the consumers. And in proactive approach, this is also important that you don't make a product thinking that what you have made is perfect. You take care of the consumer, so please involve them in building a product, which is recently started in our organization as well, where you create a small group of consumers in different regions and co-build the product, because when you co-build the product, you are able to have the much better acceptance. Another proactive approach, because once you make the product, you have a problem, then you have to have a customer services around it. So all that, you cut it and create it and make it right at the first time. Service journeys, service recovery and recovery gaps. Contextual support is something that I would like to talk about. Is intuitive support is something which is coming up very, very common, especially for some brands. So I am doing something and the brand is able to predict that yes, I am stuck here, and automatically a pop-up comes here and say that I think that you have been stuck here and you need a support. You are in a mall, you are searching for a right side of shoes for you, there's nobody to help you, and you are also free to select whatever you want, but then the moment somebody realizes that yes, you need help, then somebody comes and help you. So that is intuitive. That can be done in physical, it can be done in digital as well, but please keep it human, don't have to add bots too much to that. SME routing, I think Raman was also talking about, with more and more automation happening, simpler products coming in, it does not have one shoe fits for all. We have to have SMEs. Our routings at our contact centers, our email team, our chatbot teams, our live chat teams, everything has to be SME, so it is no more of jack of all trade. It has to be jack of all trade, but master of at least one or two, because otherwise you will end up in a poor agent of maybe around 15,000-20,000 rupees. You may end up asking him to know everything what the organization does. At an organization level, we have departments, sub-department classification, but when it comes to contact centers and our service teams, we have same person knowing my entire company, entire brand. Okay, so with that, just a pause here, a black screen here, and I move to something here, which is a car here. Now, why this car? Of course, it's not an auto exhibition, and it is still a DCX. This car is commonly known as Omni car, or known as otherwise as a kidnapper's car, as a nightmare for children there in 1980s time, okay, where you can just open the door and you can have a kidnapping done by somebody, and that's how you can scare your children and be asked to be more careful about. But why here is something where the word Omni itself, which talks about the presence of all. Now the reason why it is here is a connect between what I was saying all this while to what I'm about to say next, is that because we are having proactive support, it also leads to have a omni-channel connect. And we will be talking, I think, during the course of the day multiple times, either in a panel or by presenters on this. So not much about, I will dwell on this slide, but just to talk about it, yes, a lot of organizations, including us, have multiple channels, but that does not mean that you are omni-channel, it just means that you are multi-channel or a multi-channel, but not a omni-channel unless and until it is well connected onto that. So just a few differences between the two in terms of why a multi-channel versus an omni-channel. More customer focused rather than channel focused. This is more effortless, this is more effort taking, tactical, non-tactical, strategic and all that, but largely due to say that it is more consumer centric rather than the channel centric onto that. Now some key points on omni-channel, and the first one is, of course, the business will have to know what is that they are capable enough, and you should know about your own business before you actually enter into omni-channel. So not just a copycat situation. A line that I put in is an Indian neighbor where पड़ोसी हमसे ज़्यादा जानता है हमारे बारे में, right? A traditional earlier 1970s 80s time used to be when आपके घर में लाइट जाएगी तो आप पड़े पड़ोसी का देखेंगे उसके यहाँ लाइट गई कि नहीं. Not a typical situation nowadays in case of societies. So Indian neighbor there. The next one is about that you have to know each channel should be complementing each other and not really competing with each other. So that's the multi-channel about it, because I may pass on from A to B and B to A, but A is helping B and B is helping A, and hence I just put a line there as a new couple which kind of complement each other, not the old couples. Okay. The third one is help in knowing your customers better, which is where you will be able to know your customers better, and the moment you know your customers better, you will be able to have a better omni-channel, and hence something which is as a more of a college buddy, where a college crush, where we knew every small detail of your girlfriend, every small detail of your boyfriend, which show, which color, which rose, which sweet dish, everything on that. The last one, every company should have its own strategy and nothing copy paste of that, and hence I said no Sharma ji ka ladka, it has to be your own ladka, your own thinking and on to that. Okay. Give me 2 minutes on that. Yeah. Okay. So how to start about is you have to evaluate your business into that, engage and evolve, because, and especially I'll focus on the evolving part of it when you are applying the channel of omni-channel. It has to be evolving, because if you're not evolving, and as I said, a copycat or a technology partner will say that for this brand I have done this, you can just simply copy paste it. It will not work. An example, I will not go into this, but rather I will choose the one which is my favorite here and also related to us, is something where you start surfing for an IR pack. You get an intuitive chat support to ask to know which particular brand or which particular country, which you are visiting. I suggest you a pack. It is linked to my social channel. I give you a notification. The moment you latch on, I'll give you a helpline support to that, which you can connect from a hotel Wi-Fi. I give you a live chat, and the live chat is also able to troubleshoot you, taking your screen also online. A complete, well-connected omni-channel experience where each channel is connected to the previous one, forward-thinking, backward-linking. I want to that. Digital deflections is something which we love to do today, but at least what I feel is something that we need to be careful about, because at the end, in the effort to do digital deflection, we should not lose the customer, because it is ultimately kal ho na ho, ultimately customer can go to anywhere. AI and humans, good synchronization between AI and human, but we have to have the human present at every AI, otherwise you will end up in losing the customer, and hence you always have to say that main hu na. The third one, interaction history, which we all talk about, it has to be well connected, otherwise you will all lose the whole game. And the last one, extremely precious, extremely important, we all focus as businesses on terms of sales, but not too much on returns. But the reverse logistic is as important as the sale, because if you do reverse logistic quick well, then the customer can jump into that, and hence the last punchline as क्योंकि sale भी कभी क्योंकि sale कभी return भी कभी sale थी. So that's it. Thank you very much. I'll just leave this for the thought to read. Thank you very much.